In this video I will share with you how you can create lasting memories from the information that you're reading and that you want to memorize. Oh, and also in this video you will also learn how to never forget your car keys again. So there's three things very important when we are looking at memorizing anything. The first thing is, of course, you have to make sure that you have the information that you want to memorize. Then you need to store it somewhere. We can call that the location, and that could be a physical location, so we can store the information on a piece of paper somewhere, but you can also store it in your mind. And that's what we are talking about right now. We take the information from your notes or your book and we store it in your head. But how to do that? I'll tell you that. And there's one more thing that we need to remember when we want to memorize anything. It's not just take the information, put it somewhere in your head. No, we need to glue the two together. The location in your head where you want to store it and the information. And that glue is what I like to call emotion. When you make it a really emotional connection between location and information, you will be able to store lots of information for a very long time. Let's have a look. So the key to memorizing information is really simple. Information in a location, glue it with emotion. An example. Think about the 9/11 attacks. You know instantly what I'm talking about. And you also know something that most people probably didn't ask you in these last 20 years. You know exactly where you were the moment you heard about these attacks. So it's not something that you repeated many times over, but the information attack and the location where you physically were are glued together by your intense emotion on that event. And that's how powerful this is. Now something completely different to remember. Where are your car keys? Do you know where your car keys are right now? Many people forget where they leave their car keys. Well, there's a very interesting thing you can do. You can use the information, car key, location, put it on a shelf, and create a very strong emotional bond between the two. But there's something really easy that you can do as well. Leave the emotion out of it and always put your car keys in the same spot on the same shelf. And when you do that, you will not forget where it is. So make sure that you either use a lot of emotion, like in the 9/11 example, or you use the same location all the time for something. But how can you create a connection between your information and your location in your memory really quickly? Let's have a look at that right now. When most people are studying, they're reading their books, and what they read is words. Okay, that's a start. You can read the words, but if you're a little bit smarter and a little bit more efficient, you will not read words, you will probably read sentences. And sentences are a lot easier to remember than individual words. Now, if you want to make it even smarter than that, and that's what the smart adult learners do, they make sure that they don't see the sentences, but they see the images that the sentences create in their head. And a picture, as you know, is worth 1,000 words. So you can easily remember that picture and all the accompanying information. Now, I know sometimes it's not that easy to remember facts. For instance, history books, probably easier to remember than quantum physics books. But still, it's all about seeing the information in your mind's eye, making it as vivid as possible to make sure that you remember this stuff. And now the secret to memorizing, it's just these three things. Your information, put it in a location and glue it together with emotion. Let me give you an example of how to do this. I read a really strange fact the other day, and it said that the first speeding ticket was given in 1896 to an Englishman, and he was driving at an insane speed of 8 miles an hour. Really. it's funny if you look at it this way. But he was riding his horseless carriage and he was fine for that. Now, how do you remember this? Well, making it funny is also a very nice way of remembering it, because funny, it's an emotion. And this way you can easily remember it. Now, if you want to remember it in context with your own car, you could see yourself in front of your own car or sitting in your car, and then you see this horseless carriage with this old English fellow, and he is driving in front of you at 8 miles an hour. Probably some policemen on horses or just running around trying to catch up with them. Well, what you can do with your car, making it perhaps funny or slightly illegal, is just bump into his horseless carriage a few times with your car and make him drive not 8 miles an hour but 80 miles an hour. Let's see how that ends. But by doing it that way, you take the information, first speeding fine, 1896, 8 miles an hour is too fast, and connecting that with your car. So next time you go to your car and you sit behind the wheel, you will see this English fellow driving in front of you, and you make it funny by bumping him and making him like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? Oh no, 80 miles an hour. So when you do that, it will be easier for you to remember. Now to the big question: why can't you retain information when studying? It's all about focus. You're just sitting there, and you probably have this many times over already. You're reading and you close your book and you think, what did I just read? You can't remember because there was no focus. The moment you learn how to focus on your information, you will become better at remembering, and then by connecting it to a location and gluing it together with emotion, you will be able to retain this for a long time. So here's all of this combined. You read your book. You read not just words, not just sentences, but you see what is happening in your book. And when you do that, you will be able to visualize, locate it, put it in a location in your head, and glue it together with emotion. And you don't need a lot of emotion if the images are really clear. And combining all these things together, you will be able to keep all this information in your head. Oh, and which emotions can you use? You can use all of them. You can use the funny things, but you can also use more negative ones like pain. And pain is such a very powerful emotion that people use all the time to make sure that they don't go anywhere or they do something or whatever. Pain is much more powerful, research has shown, than positive emotions. So make sure that you find a balance between nice things to memorize with the nice emotions and the slightly negative emotions. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it that you've stick around so long. Now it's a good time to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your next study session.